Hello everybody and welcome back to another new and noteworthy mod review. Today we're going to take a look at headland management. But before that, this video is brought to you by E10 Marin. Thank you for being a farm baron. So headland management helps take a whole lot of keyboard controls or controller button pushes that you would typically have at, say, the end of a fieldwork pass and tries to automate them down to a single button push. So what if you could turn the PTO off, raise the implement, turn your plow, lower the seeder, lower or change the headland marker, all with the press of a single button? Or what if you could do that and disengage GPS or re-engage GPS or disengage the guidance steering on the vehicle control add-on mod, possibly cause it to automatically turn, do all kinds of things with a single button push. That is what headland management does. And the way you need to use it is you need to first configure your vehicle with it. So I've got a 4755 down here. We're going to customize it. We already have GPS enabled on this. I'm going to go to headland management and I'm going to say installed. It's going to cost you $3,000 to add this type of automation to your vehicle. And then the way it works is basically we are going to pull up to a field like this one. We're going to turn on guidance steering. Set our A point. We're going to lower our rear implement. And we're going to go farming, right? We're going to engage our guidance steering, but wait. Now, before we get to the end of the field, notice the F1 menu, we have some new controls. We have left shift X. That is the default key binding for enabling headland mode. And then we have left shift control X for the headland settings. So we're just going to back up here to give us a little bit more time. Once we're going to engage cruise control. When we get to the end, we're going to hit left shift X. And it has raised the implement. It has slowed us down to 5 kilometers per hour. It disengaged guidance steering. And once we get lined up for our next pass, I'm going to hit left shift X. It has re-engaged guidance steering. It has changed our cruise control. And it has lowered our cultivator. We're going to do the same thing when we get to the end here. Left shift X now. And we're going to do it one more time. Left shift X. And off we go. Of course, if we weren't using headland management, we would have to hit 3 to turn off cruise control. We would have to hit V to raise our implement. We would have to hit Alt X to disable our guidance steering. Then we would basically have to navigate our turn, right, on our own. When we get lined up, we would have to basically reverse all that. Alt X to re-engage guidance steering. V to lower our implement. And 3 to re-engage our cruise control. Left shift X for the win. Right? Now let's go ahead and take a look at the headland management settings. Left shift control X. We're going to come in here to our headland settings menus. Or headland settings menu. Now notice at the top, this is specific for this vehicle. Each vehicle can have its own headland management settings. So we can turn on or off the beeping when headland mode is on. Some people that would get annoying, other people wouldn't mind it. You can turn it off if you want. You can change the volume of the beep if it's just too loud. You can just make it a little bit quieter. We can tell it to lift the implements, front and back, off to not lift the implements, back mode or front mode only. We can tell it to do a plow turn in 2 steps, a full turn, or not to turn it off. We can tell it to stop the PTO and hydraulics, front and back, not at all, back or front. We can tell it to change the ridge marker, yes or no. And then down here, if we had vehicle control add-on, then we would have some other settings. Here under GPS control, we have stop GPS steering, yes or no. Use GPS mod, we have automatic detect or only guidance steering. I only have the guidance steering mod enabled, so that's why it's coming up there. If I also had vehicle control add-on, then I could pick which mod is actually doing my lane steering. Automatic headland mode, off or on. In my testing here on Elm Creek, on these starter fields, I'm not having the best results with automatic headland mode, so I'm going to leave it off. But what this is supposed to do is automatically detect when you get to the end of the field. And when you get to the end of the field, then it will allow you to basically automatically raise the implement and go into headland mode. But we can't do that if we have the guidance steering course locked. So let's go back in here. And now you can see when we turn this on, we can trigger for the front or the back of the vehicle. Like I said, in my testing here on Elm Creek, on the starter fields, it didn't work out so great. So I'm just going to leave that off. Speed control settings. This is when we are in headland mode. Basically, we're making our turn. Do we change our cruise control speed? And if we do, what do we set it to? And this is in kilometers per hour. So let's go over here and check out how it works, let's say, with a harvester. So we're just going to turn our harvester on. I'm going to go ahead and set my guidance steering point up. Engage it. I've got the lines enabled just to make it easier to see that we are lined up when we are making our turns. When we get to the end of the field here, I'm going to hit left shift X. And what should happen is it should turn off the header, raise the header, and then change our cruise control speed back down. Left shift X. Remember, the settings are specific to each particular vehicle. And then once we are ready to go again, left shift X. And off we go. Now, I want to stop here. I'm going to go back in the settings. And I want to change this volume down a little bit. Just so we can hear how that is different. And then once we navigate this turn, I want to demonstrate it just one more time with the seeder to try to enable the whole ridge marker movement also. Because, you know, the more buttons you have to push at the end of every pass, the more convenient headland management is going to be. So That's a lot less annoying right there. I could almost tolerate that. If I couldn't turn it down, I'd have to turn the beeping off because it's just too annoying. And there you go. Just one button push. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to turn the beeping off on this. Lift implements from back. Reg marker is on. What the hey? Let's just go ahead and demonstrate this. Let's set it to the back so it detects it when, in theory, the rear of the vehicle reaches the headland. And we'll save it. We'll lower a ridge marker. We'll lower this. We'll unfold it. We'll turn it on. Off we'll go. Lock that down. Now remember, we are in automatic mode. Literally the only thing we need to do is turn the tractor and hit engage to turn this thing back on. So it is now turned it off. You see we raised our ridge marker. We can now make our turn. It's changed our cruise control. Once we feel we are lined up and ready to rock and roll, we'll hit left shift X. And it has lowered the other ridge marker, lowered the seater, turned the seater back on, and re-engaged guidance steering. And just because I like to always thoroughly demonstrate it, we're going to do it just one more time. Remember, this is auto mode, so it has automatically turned the seater off, raised the seater, lifted the ridge marker, and disabled the guidance steering. And once again, you get locked in. And left shift X to turn it back on. And it does all the rest for me. Turns on the seater, lowers the seater, lowers the ridge marker, and re-engages the guidance steering. So guys, that is headland management. Let me know down in the comments below. Did you use this mod back in Farm Sim 19? Or are you glad to see it come here in Farm Sim 22? And I've got to say, I think it has a couple more new features. But like I said, I didn't get an opportunity to use this a lot in Farm Sim 19, but I do think I am going to make a point of using this in Farm Sim 22 going forward. And until next time, happy farming.